This is Air FM online.
What's his name?
Maik.
I thought you were talking about the mic. All right. We are Three Angry Men. I'm Nick.
Oliver.
Jeff.
Maik.
Today we are going to discuss the hype movie Black Panther that has
Black
taken the
Panther.
world by storm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good.
We got some
With a
thoughts.
special guest, Mike.
All right.
So we got
I'm ready for
here's
this.
the
Well,
thing.
to give the context, we've all seen it. That's
Yeah.
very important. First of
Yeah.
all,
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
all seen it.
Yeah.
I think you guys saw it twice.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
I've seen it just once. I want to see it twice too.
We've also seen it
I just
once.
needed. I just needed to see it one more time to just be sure of my
About
thoughts.
how you feel.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
But you don't just have to watch the movie.
Well, there's a lot.
You've seen the interviews
there's a
around
lot
it.
to say. There's a lot to say, but I think maybe we want to talk about the movie itself first.
Yeah.
We're gonna go into it. We're gonna break down the movie.
Yeah. the
First of
movie
all, the
first.
movie, the
Right.
storyline, because these two are Marvel heads.
Yeah, and I actually.
I'm
never
not a
talked
Marvel.
about
I'm just
so
superhero
it's
movies.
different.
But we are also going to go into the cultural impact of this movie
Yeah,
and the
it's huge.
promotion that was
I-
put behind
I
it
have a
because
lot
it
to
was
say.
hype.
That was.
This movie would have broken some box office records without even being a good movie. If it was a shit movie.
Definitely
Yeah.
because of the African
Yeah.
cultural thing.
Exactly.
The hype that was
black
built around
culture.
But that's
Yeah.
a brilliant segue. Is it a good movie?
Ooh,
Jeff takes the floor.
Oh, that's a difficult
Jeff
question.
takes the floor.
I don't think it's that good of a movie.
State your case.
It is just. There's one problem I have with every Marvel movie. It is just too similar. It's the same shit all over again.
Okay. Well, I didn't watch.
But that's not the case with this movie.
This
That-
movie
that's what I
has,
thought.
this movie has a bit of that in it. Like it's similar to the Spider-Man movie in the sense that somebody comes home, some shit happens, and out of that, there's one battle at the end, and then
Yeah,
some.
but I mean that's like complaining about every horror movie being scary. It's a genre.
No,
Right,
it's
yeah.
it's a
It's
genre
the
thing,
formula
but
of
it's a
the
genre thing,
movies.
but it's also like it is very predictable. Like you sit in the,
No, not this one.
this
You
one.
thought this one was predictable? I didn't think.
I
this
had
was
some
predictable.
moments where, like, the first half was not that predictable, but as soon as you get into the second half, if you get into the Killmonger stuff, everything is just.
No,
It felt
what
like-
are you,
disagree.
What's he talking about?
I
No,
totally
I felt like-
disagree.
fucking no. I think. Well, first of all,
to me, it felt like pretty.
I went and I don't watch a lot of Marvel movies at all, and I don't like them very much. I went in very skeptical, but I thought the movie was actually very good. I thought it was a very good film. So I enjoyed watching it. I think they did a great job. I definitely don't think it was predictable, especially the Killmonger part. I didn't think it was predictable.
Like
at all.
the idea of Killmonger was brilliant. Actually, I liked his character. I liked how he what he stood for and what he represented, what he could talk about in the Marvel universe and in general, like culturally, like what he's trying to convey with that.
That's a point that makes him the movie itself already better than other Marvel movies because there's a villain that you actually care of.
All right, but I
But-
want to go deep into this. So before we do that, spoiler alert.
Oh, we're going to spoil
You know how
the
Yeah.
whole fucking movie.
Yeah,
You have to make sure you
There's
say it.
Yeah.
You get-
We should have said it at
If
the
you
beginning.
haven't watched it by now, you're trash.
Yeah, what you didn't watch it now. What's wrong? No, but anyways, what was I didn't think it was predictable at all. I mean, the part of where he, for example, killed Ulysses Claw and then took him there. As
That was shocking,
I didn't
right?
expect that. I thought he was going to go there.
He's
with
the
him.
main villain of Black Panther, and
At
they
that point-
killed him in this movie
At
already.
that point,
Yeah.
till that point, I would say like everything there, not everything, but it was surprising. It was fun. It was engaging. But the Killmonger, like the idea of Killmonger, was more interesting to me than some of the execution of it. Like sending the weapons to other countries. That was like, yeah, that happens in every movie. Like we send some ships away, and
True, that's
Shit
the
happens,
Marvel
like,
formula.
that's the Marvel shit.
That's
Yeah,
the
okay.
standard superhero thing. If you don't do that in a superhero movie, how is it gonna be a superhero?
Like,
Like,
no,
there's
hold on.
certain
I'm
elements.
not over this beef yet about the predictable. What was predictable? What
Yo,
part?
whoa, I'm gonna still going into that.
I mean, it's-
It
it's
didn't
some part,
have
not
that-
that part, not the.
Not
Like,
like,
okay,
how-
where he goes in, like, and they have the herb that they have to take, and when he wakes up, he says they should burn all of it.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
I expected that. Like that's what a villain does.
But I can
But-
understand that
Like,
it didn't
maybe-
have the wow effect. There was never this really big wow moment like, oh, this is a shocking
Yeah.
moment in a movie. I agree with that, but that doesn't make it bad.
No, it like it doesn't make it bad, but it makes it less enjoyable for me.
Wait, but did the other Marvel movies have that? Because not any.
Other Marvel movies have similar kind of stuff. Like maybe
No, but I mean like a
thing-
whoa moment, like he's saying.
a woe moment.
In other Marvel
I would
movies,
say the only one that came close is Captain
The Nick
America.
Fury thing. The Nick Fury thing in
And
Captain
the-
America. Where
first
he's
one?
in the car and suddenly he gets
Yes,
attacked.
yes.
That was like a crazy
Yeah.
whoa
In
moment.
Captain America, what was
That's the Winter Soldier,
The
right?
Winter Soldier. There's a sequence where Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson is in a car and suddenly he gets attacked, and everything in there is like surprising. It is innovative. It's stuff you would see in the comics, but not in this way. It would be like simple shit. Car blows up and everything is done, but everything was really intricate and it made sense, and it was really like surprising how we got out of there. Anyways, and then at the end, later in the movie, he returns.
Yeah, he was
spectacular
killed.
fashion.
He was
like-
killed and then he came back.
It was-
on a weird way.
Like the Black Panther thing with burning the herbs and everything was very comic book like, but at the same time it was very typical. But for instance, in Winter Soldier with Samuel L. Jackson, that stuff was also comic book like, but it's very surprising. It was very it fit in the story, but at the same time it was just like, oh shit, this really happens. I didn't expect this to happen.
Well, I think you paid attention to some very different things that I paid attention to. It's probably because I don't watch these movies as much. But for me,
It's also
a
probably also
very-
because I read the comics.
yeah. But
Every
for
now
me,
and
a
then,
very shocking moment that I didn't really expect was the, and maybe if you've read, because people that have read the comics go, so
Mhm.
maybe it's different for them. But the whole story behind Eric Killmonger and how, how he basically came to be who he was, with his
Yeah.
father being he's basically T'Challa's
Yeah.
cousin.
Yeah.
Basically cousins. Like
Yeah.
their fathers were brothers, and T'Challa's father killed his father
Yeah.
because they were spying on the United States and seeing what's going on there, and then he became radicalized. That whole background story, and them just killing that guy Eric Killmonger's father, and then leaving him there as a kid.
Yeah.
That was, for me, for a superhero movie, I thought that was pretty dark.
That was, but I don't think that is not a comic thing. That is just they invented that. For
Oh,
this
that
movie.
wasn't in the comics.
Yeah.
Well, that explains why it was so
Exactly.
good.
That's
But
what
it, but it was.
explains it. Explains it. Doesn't
I
it?
know.
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
This is-
That makes a lot of sense.
Because I didn't think I was gonna ask you. Did you predict that whole thing?
No,
Yeah,
no.
that's
that
what
was-
I didn't.
but that's why I
I
say.
didn't see that coming.
But
Nah,
that's why I
me
say the
neither.
first part of the movie is like really interesting and fun and good to watch because most of, like
But
not
this whole
everything-
backstory came later on near the end. I mean,
Nah, it was
was
not.
the midpoint.
It was the midpoint, like
Switched it.
until
But
the
I-
point where he.
Yeah, but it plays into the end. I
Yeah.
agree with him there.
You mean the point that the big battle thing felt just like any other
oh,
Marvel
the big
movie.
battle was just
And that's what makes you
CGI
think
people
this.
but
puppets
how
running
would
around.
you?
They have to satisfy the
He-
children.
Yeah,
They-
right.
I
What
know,
do you want
I
them to
know,
do?
but
And it's
Like-
it's
but-
still in the Marvel universe, so
Yeah.
it should follow that
can't just do
formula.
some
Some
other
with
Sure.
every one of
Sure.
these movies, I hope they really get into a genre like movies do always. Like it's a superhero movie. It is. It will always be a superhero movie. But sometimes I hope they really get into like action adventure or really get into some horror elements or something like that. They go a little bit deeper, but then like they always
I think-
scratch the surface
I
but
think
never
it-
go.
I think it's
there.
funny because everything you're complaining about is exactly what everyone is applauding this movie for. That it's the one that actually did this. Like I haven't seen the other ones much, but I'm watching all the reviews of people, and everyone's saying, people that like watch every single Marvel movie are saying, this is the one that did something that
Yeah,
none of the
definitely.
other ones do.
The thing that
Going into like a political thing.
Yeah.
And
that's
about
what this movie did, except for
colonialism
all
and-
in comparison to all the others. Like that's the only thing, and that's a good thing.
It's a politically
And it is- it's
conscious
the good
film,
part of
which
the
is
movie.
also because you're talking about genres. It's a politically conscious film, which is
Yeah.
also a genre of
Yeah.
filmmaking, and it did that in combination with the superhero thing.
It juggled it wonderfully. That part was really just it made sense. I'm only a bit sad that they killed off Killmonger because I think they could have done way more interesting stuff. Like I read some articles, and when they said this, it immediately clicked. Like they could have made him the Magneto of the Marvel universe, and the Magneto is like for the X-Men, the guy who is always the one who wants to rebel through violence and all that kind of stuff. And then you have the counterpart that is Professor X, and that could be Black
Yeah, but
Panther
then
and
you
Killmonger.
get that. Then you get that pattern again, right?
Yeah.
Where that guy,
Yeah.
he's always there, and it doesn't. like to me, this movie was good, particularly because he had like then it would have been a bad ending for this film. So maybe it would have been a better franchise.
Yeah.
move,
Yeah.
But for the movie itself, it wouldn't have been.
It
very
doesn't-
good.
That's always
but
the juggle with these things. Yeah.
It doesn't really like Magneto is such a huge part of the X-Men universe.
Hmm.
Everything surrounds around Magneto. He has kids that are also mutants, but Killmonger is not in the Marvel universe a big name. It's just a villain of Black Panther in Wakanda, and next to that, the big guy is Thanos, which we will see in Infinity War
Yeah.
Yeah.
in 2 months, and that's the big villain, and that one will have 2 movies and has been set up through the movies. So
Yeah.
the Magneto part, yeah, he's great, and Michael B. Jordan is a phenomenal artist, but but it doesn't make sense to make him a Magneto person. It doesn't make sense.
I feel I'm not sure.
They're doing
Yeah.
the Marvel thing. They're nerding out.
I feel
I like hearing about it. I need to hear about
this.
this.
I'm just listening.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
I
any of
feel
it.
like
I don't know any
they
of
missed
it.
an opportunity with that. Like they, for the first time, they got a real villain in these things. Like all of the other ones have.
Bro, you're struggling with this iPad.
Just listen to the-
We're on Instagram
Everyone
Live,
can
by
see
the way.
this.
But yeah, for the first time, they got a real villain and somebody who could really bring terror to this whole universe. Like somebody who could,
No.
somebody who feels menacing.
No, you're
I
bugging. You're
I
bugging. No, he
we
was-
haven't seen Thanos
What was so
yet.
unique about him, right, is that he was all by himself. Like he went
Yeah.
into basically enemy territory all by himself. It was sort of like and that's why I think it was so interesting because it was sort of like a last resort. Like I don't think, and they couldn't. There's only so much you can put in a film, but I felt as if the plan was actually to do it differently, and then it didn't go well because Ulysses Claw got captured. I think they had a different plan.
What was the
overtake
plan you
Wakanda.
thought?
Well,
Yeah.
because first of all, they
I mean, it's
took-
true they didn't highlight that.
they didn't highlight it, but there's
really,
only
like-
so much you can do in a
Yeah.
film. But if you
Yeah.
think about it, it doesn't make sense because he's working with Ulysses Claw first to get this vibranium axe thing,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they were gonna sell it. Well, then Ulysses Claw gets caught by T'Challa, and then he has to come save him, and then he decides to kill him.
Yeah.
He could have killed him way earlier.
I think that's the only
Mhm.
weird thing in the movie that isn't explained really well.
It is,
why
yeah.
he went from okay, I'm working with Ulysses Claw to I'm gonna get him out there, which makes sense because they can get a lot of money and vibranium together, and then he kills him off to get inside Wakanda.
I mean, my speculation was they had a plan, right, to amass more, fighting power
Mhm.
to go there and like overtake them in a different way. But then now they didn't. But that would have been more generic, by the way, if they would have done that.
Yeah.
But they went a different route where they used the element of the culture, which I thought was incredibly fascinating.
That was really interesting.
Where he
yeah.
goes there and he says, "Well, I'm the son of this prince, therefore I have a right for the throne," and they have to let him fight. They have to let him. That's what I thought was. That was probably one of the best moments in the film.
But I
too.
think
Probably
that is
like the whole warrior waterfall thing was just
and I didn't
the
expect
way
that.
the way they set that shit up. Like the first time you come in, it feels like something big, magical, and then the first battle between
M'Baku.
M'Baku and
They're good.
T'Challa happens. And that was just cool
It's
to see.
brilliant too because it sets it up for the connection was
Really?
brilliant between that
Yeah.
and the end.
And then you see the whole sequence how he gets his Black Panther powers back with the herbs
Yeah.
and everything. It all makes sense. Like you see that for the first time, you think, "Oh, wonderful origin." But then Killmonger comes in, tells him he's a prince, also a son of the royal family, and he gets the challenge. And then you see how brutal he fights, and then you see how he takes over the country. That was just
But what did you
thrilling
think
to
of
see.
M'Baku? What did you think of him? Because you're
I
a,
thought-
you're
I
a, you're
thought
a
he-
comic boy.
I thought
As
he
an
was
actor, he
Oh,
was,
he's in
yeah.
the comics too, the guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
He's,
yeah.
he's Man Ape in the comics. He's next to Killmonger, the biggest villain of
Oh,
Black
really?
Panther.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't-
But here now they're homies at the end of the
Oh,
movie,
yeah.
which I
okay.
found really weird because
That's interesting.
that's 2 villains that basically are played out after one movie.
no. They could turn him later on, but that's they could do everything in these movies. Like,
I thought
at
I thought he was one of the best characters.
he was
And I thought the actor who played him was one of the
He
best.
was really
He
good.
was really good.
They got
Really,
some
really good.
I love
wonderful
my
actors
ass
in this
off.
thing. Like, let's talk about the acting for a bit. Like, they got some really good people to
Yeah.
play these roles.
Dude, this is the
Mm.
movie I told him if they put Mahershala Ali in here,
Ooh.
we had all the best black actors of
Yeah,
now
you
in
would
this
have-
movie.
Yeah,
Probably.
the young, the of now, the young ones.
Yeah,
You have
not
older
of this
people.
generation,
Yeah.
but of now.
Yeah.
Newer movie. Yeah.
Probably.
I'd argue
Yeah.
Idris Elba.
Yeah.
And Idris Elba.
Yeah. Okay. Of course.
No
Um,
disrespect to Idris Elba.
No, but they did. They
Okay.
did. They had a star cast.
That was.
They have.
They had Cougar as a director,
Yeah. They have
which
Forrest
did a
Whitaker
great
was
job
in
on
there,
Creed
Angela Bassett was in
Yeah.
there.
and Fruitville Station.
Surely,
Letitia Wright.
the
Letitia Wright.
I think I want to. I thought she
the
was the
best.
best in the film. Letitia Wright.
everybody's saying she's the breakout star of the
Played,
this movie.
For
she
sure.
did a phenomenal job.
For sure.
The part where
Like-
she goes, "What are those?"
The
I
sneakers
thought
part
so.
was the
Yeah.
It
sneakers
was
part
genius,
was
but they
just-
had to
oh.
do
Hey.
it. They had to put. You have to.
One
Yeah,
more
yeah.
thing. Is she the first princess ever in movies to give a middle finger?
Probably.
I think so.
She's
I think
you
she
could
is.
say she's the first Disney princess to give
Yeah,
a middle finger.
But she's
Yeah.
also like she's a very different kind of Disney princess. Like she's smart.
yeah, like,
But this is the
Well,
one.
very,
not-
very
it doesn't
21st
Marvel,
century.
right?
Very,
Marvel's
very.
different.
it might still Disney.
Yeah.
This is the dope thing of this movie. It brings the best of Marvel, the best of, I think, black culture, the best thing of political now with women in these kind of big
Yeah, they did a big.
big spots in movies. It brings this all together in one really good movie that is also fun to watch.
And still, Jeff didn't like it.
Like,
Let's talk
it
about
was.
it. What is
okay.
your problem?
It like
I
it
went
didn't-
in there. I
He's-
don't like superhero movies. I don't watch them. I went super skeptical. I thought the story was incredibly well executed with different patterns and symbols, like things like the traditional battle that they do at the beginning
Yeah.
in the setup of the film,
Mhm.
and then later on how that's because first you're like, okay, this is interesting that they just do this, but then I actually personally didn't expect it to come back in such a precise and unique way where. Then later, when Eric Killmonger's fighting him, you understand what that is.
Mhm.
They could have also fucked up and not really introduced that, and then all of a sudden, Eric Killmonger's like, "Oh, we're gonna have this fight," and then it's the first time you see it. But because you've seen it before, it makes sense.
Like
It was
the
And they have that
directing.
balance there.
The directing was okay, but it could be just that I got all these articles saying this is the new Batman Begins, this is new all
Nah.
of that shit. Like
Nah,
it is not that.
it's not that.
It
But I
is
don't think you should
above
put them in the
average
same-
Marvel movie.
You shouldn't
And
put them in
for-
the same category. Though.
I think that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It's
Mm.
a total different movie, a total different formula.
It's
Batman doesn't try to be political.
Batman
it
is a
doesn't have any
thriller.
thing
It's
behind
like
it.
just a really good
Batman
thriller.
had his tried to be political in its own way, and it worked there. And it was in general just also a brilliant movie. All the first two Batman movies.
I mean, the trilogy is
Yeah.
my number one superhero movie.
Yeah,
But
But
is
I
it a
don't really
superhero
watch
movie?
superhero
It is.
movies. Yeah.
It could be a
but
detective.
this one is
you
still
can
top
tell
three.
a
Yeah,
But
detective.
I see
that's
what you
that's the
mean.
thing
Yeah.
I'm getting into with these movies. That's what I'm trying to search for. Movies that are really good other stuff, like really good detective, really good thriller, really good romance or whatever, but also having the spirit element worked out well. And
That's exactly what they did in Black Panther.
No, but you know what the problem is with
But they
Jeff?
did.
You know what, man? You have to consider, like, imagine all the things I had to consider. This was gonna
Yeah.
be the first black superhero. Imagine how much pressure there is on the
Incredible.
young director who's a Marvel fan.
that's why I'm saying I'm not
It needs
saying
to have a
it's
political message.
I'm not
It
saying
needs
it's a
to-
horrible movie.
It needs to satisfy everyone.
Gotta cater to
You don't
women.
think they did a good
did
job at-
big effort to
I
cater
think they
to,
did a wonderful
female
job for what it
audience.
is. Like
Okay, yeah.
for what it is good. But I just felt like it missed like this little bit that would make it perfect for me. So it's a personal thing.
Well, what
But-
would have been the adjustment? Because I can think of some things for sure. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm thinking of.
I
Um,
would want more of like the when he got I forgot her name, Lupita Nyong'o. She was in the beginning with these girls and all that kind of stuff, and he went to save her. I would want to see a little bit more of that. Them going to Africa, other parts, trying to help the continent, showing him more as a superhero, doing that kind of stuff, detective kind of stuff, saving kind of stuff. That would make it feel more like there was some. It's just not. Isn't yeah. It would not just be him for his country alone. Like also going for the continent, showing that they at least try doing stuff, but they have their own way of doing stuff. Like the way they help the world is different from what they want. And
No,
kill
but you
that
see,
contrast.
Jeff, you're not focused when you watch these movies. That's what your problem. You're not focused.
They
Because it
say
doesn't
why
work.
they don't do that, right?
They
He say I'm
explicitly talk
the
about why they
he
don't do
says
that.
I'm the king of Wakanda and I can only help the people in Wakanda and not in the continent. And then at the end of the movie,
He changes his mind.
he changes his mind
Because of what happened.
Because of what happened, and then he says,
I'm-
"Okay, we're
Jeff is half
changing these
asleep.
buildings."
He's half asleep watching this film.
And
Which
the
is what really
Bugatti,
happens in the world,
They have
by
an
the way.
comes in.
isolationist policy. They even talk about it. Nukia, Lupita Nyong'o's character, is the first to confront him about it. In the beginning of the film, when she just comes back, he's talking about how, he asked her to stay because he's in love with her. And she's like, no, I can't do that because I have to go out there and help people and do all this stuff. And then she actually appeals to him to do something now that he's king. And he's like, nah, bro, I can't be doing all that because I got this place over here.
I would have wanted to see more of
His
that.
father had that policy too. And that's what the confrontation was between his father and Eric Killmonger's father, and that's what Eric Killmonger's. Man, shout out to these people. Man. Come on, it was.
I think
it
the
was
point
very,
with-
it was all
the
connected.
point
It
what-
was very well connected.
The point
Yeah.
what Jeff, I go to all these Marvel movies with Jeff all the time, and we talk about this shit a
all
lot.
the time.
And I think he's just done with the fun superhero movie. He just wants that serious stuff.
It-
And
it-
that's
it-
the whole problem with this
No.
guy. He's always like,
Because he
yeah, it
listens
is
to Childish
fun.
Gambino.
That's a different convo.
hey.
Okay, that's a different
Don't do that.
convo, though.
We're not talking about music now. Right
I
now.
mean,
I get
they
what you mean.
try to
No.
different.
You know what I mean?
I'm sorry.
Like no, he's right with that. Like that is also an element, but with this one, I didn't mind that much. But that's also an element I'm also always searching for in these movies. That's why I prefer the DC movies more for what they try to do. They're not good movies; they're really bad movies. But what they
Okay.
try to do.
So
is
let me
very
make
interesting.
the argument then, because I get he explained your thing better than you. Need
I'm
to,
trying
I know
to-
you're half asleep.
I'm trying
now
to
I
talk
get it. Now I
you.
get it completely
Yeah,
because that's that is true. This movie it was a film for like children, teens. It wasn't an adult film.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it bad.
No,
While
no,
it,
but
at all.
that's
while
why
it
I'm not saying
takes
like it's the worst
adult
movie.
things.
It takes
but
adult things
loosely.
Exactly,
And-
and if you want to make it like a darker film just by its theme and like certain like there was jokes in it, they could have taken out the jokes, no jokes.
Not the jokes.
right? No
weren't-
comic
they could have
relief.
kept
They
in
could
the
have
jokes.
made it
but-
very heavy, but then you have these very heavy political topics they're dealing with, and then now they're gonna make it very serious. I'm surprised they even got away with this. The whole thing of
That-
Eric Killmonger basically going for a sort of like
That's just the
Pan-African
Marvel model.
philosophy.
With the
Yeah.
Global
the
African
ending
philosophy,
quote
yeah.
of Killmonger with his grandfather's
Just leave
the
me in the
slavery part.
Yeah, all of
That's
that,
a
yeah.
huge thing
It's
in,
a very
in,
heavy-
in the
it was
politics
pretty heavy,
now.
but yeah, I like
in America.
very heavy topics,
With-
and
with-
then to make it also that dark, I don't think people would have been able to handle it. Even now, there's actually we say this, it's doing good,
Mhm.
but there's plenty of people who also don't like it.
yeah, but those people are not
They
like
do.
don't
anything.
like
And
it.
why? Do,
They-
what are their arguments why they don't like it? Did
Okay,
you-
so that goes more into like the social culture impact of it. But some of the arguments I've heard about why people don't like it is because basically they don't like the fact that that it is sort of political and that it is sort of trying to present an idea of an Africa that what would it have been if it wasn't
People just
been
don't like the
colonized.
idea of-
So it feels like it's
Yeah.
blaming Western countries.
It
certain
is.
people. But they're making a political argument. They're not talking about the film. They're talking about, oh, it's not good because it makes these political arguments, and it's basically it should be a film and just shut up. That's sort of what the idea
You
is,
can't.
yeah.
You can't ignore that whole
They-
thing.
if they-
And
if
besides
they made
that,
that-
I thought the political and social cultural stuff was very subtle.
It was
Yeah, I thought
very
it was-
subtle.
yeah,
It wasn't in
but
your
I
face.
understand why they
Wasn't
did
so
why they
forced.
made it subtle for because, like you said, kids need to watch this and
Kids are
enjoy it
watching,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But for me personally, if I watch these movies, I would like to see more of that kind of stuff in it. This one did that to an extent and did it pretty well. But if they could turn it up a few notches, that would make me.
They
very
could have
happy.
turned it up if you not. They could have made it more serious.
But
Yeah.
they are
But-
in this
but
transition.
I understand. I
into-
understand. For the kids, you need to do that kind of stuff, and that's why I say it's like it's an okay movie. It's for me. It's in the middle somewhere. It could have like a 6 or 7 for me. Probably a light 8.
Okay, what
Yeah.
would you say
Okay, then
from
that's good.
Marvel? Which would be top notch for you then? If
Mhm.
this is in the middle, what is the top notch of
for
Marvel
me,
movies?
For me, Marvel movies are always in the lower end because they are just they're slightly better than Transformers movies.
I have the feeling that there's this inner thing. These movies, you like them, but you are looking for serious things in movies, and you are not getting it out of
Like-
Marvel universe, and
Yeah, but
For
you
sure
shouldn't
not.
expect it from the Marvel.
Exactly.
you
That's why I'm
shouldn't
not.
expect
That's
it.
why I'm
I
not.
didn't go there at all expecting.
That's why I'm
I'd be
not
saying
expecting
the
for
same
that.
thing you
I
said.
think
But
they-
this movie scratched the surface, and it made me eager to see more of that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm a little bit disappointed. Like the last line Killmonger says, brilliant.
What was it again? I don't remember. You can't say something like that and then not remember the line, Jeff.
Like it was something in the vein of just let me die.
Oh yeah, when
Put
he
me
was
in the
being
water with
killed,
the
says
slave.
my
Yeah.
ancestors know it was better to take death over
Imprisonment or
imprisonment or
Yeah.
something
yeah,
like
they
that.
jump off the ships
Yeah,
That
they jumped
just-
off the ship
instead of dying.
like-
change,
Yeah.
both of the times I was in the theater watching that just hit people. Like
but that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, that was
but
heavy.
that-
That was
That
a
is
good
what
line.
people
That
in the
is-
black
that-
culture want
You wanted to hear
everyone to hear.
But like
That was
stuff
a
like
full
that,
44
like
shit.
stuff like that's things like that makes you think like, oh shit, like this is how certain people think about this stuff or certain topics. So it could have been anything from representment of women in other stuff or whatever they could have think of. But lines like that, stuff like that points and makes you think like, oh shit, this is how people think about stuff.
But this is the point why I don't get
Yeah, but this
that.
is like stuff that actually used to happen.
Right.
People used to think like that.
Yeah,
At a certain
people
time
still
because
think like that.
I don't
Yeah.
get it why people don't like this movie, because especially for the black culture, this is the movie that puts the finger on everything and makes it easy, easily
there's
digestible
there's
for
plenty
everyone.
of people who don't like the pop
Exactly.
culture, so-
That's
But
also
they
part-
don't get it.
But I think there
Yeah.
are two
They-
things.
no, we're here. That's what happened. That's what you have. So that's what
I think there are
People-
two
some
things.
people don't
It's
like
that
about
part, like people don't want to hear those kind of stories. People don't want to see that. But it's also a part that people are used to certain movies being easy to watch and not having any substance to them. And then when it has something, whenever a movie does a little bit that is a little bit political in
they don't
in
like
either
it.
way,
I mean, Wonder Woman got the same crap.
yeah.
They
Right.
did the same
but
thing.
with
So,
the- with the-
yeah,
with the
women. Oh, you're
feminists.
trying to be
Yeah.
feminist, and
Yeah.
now it's, oh, you're trying to be.
Did you watch it by
pro-black.
the way? Was it any
I
good?
didn't get to watch it. I wanted to. I didn't
Anyone-
want
We
did.
watched
Was
it.
it good?
to.
Yeah. Wonder Woman was a decent movie.
But if you if you
It was
compare
a-
that one compared to
really
the
good.
hype
This one's
to
better.
this one in
I've been
terms
told-
of,
I've
in
been
terms of
told that
like,
this one-
Black Panther is
execution,
better.
Black
Black
Panther
yeah,
Panther
is
is better.
execution is
Yeah.
better.
The ending of
course, there were
Wonder
more
Woman
messages
was
to give.
horrible.
Ending of
The ending was.
The ending was
the-
I
horrible.
did hear that.
the fight was just
There's a
just
sequence.
one fireball.
Yeah, there was a sequence. The
Well,
World
let me
War
not-
One thing.
Yeah.
The World War One sequence was really good.
Yeah, that's probably
But
one
the
of the
ending
best
was
movie sequence,
shit.
but
Too
superhero movie sequence of the last few years. But that ending was just it ruins the whole movie.
Yeah, it did.
Well, one thing I thought was genius about Black Panther that I
Mhm.
want to talk about is that what they did, what I find very different from most superhero movies that I've seen, which is very few, so bear with me. But there wasn't a clear moral binary,
Mhm.
right? At first, you have Ulysses Claw, where there is, because he's just sort of an asshole and he just wants to steal
He's
stuff.
clear evil.
Shout out to Andy Serkis.
Yeah, he killed it.
He he was killed then.
But then later, it becomes a much more complex thing where you really have trouble arguing with who is right.
yeah,
And what they did very brilliantly there is that they sort of foreshadowed Killmonger's point of view and opinion earlier in the film, when Nukia is actually sort of saying the same thing.
and also with Kalua,
Daniel Kaluuya's character
Was it Wakabi?
of the border tribe.
Yeah.
That character, and how he says, you need to go get this guy, and either you bring him back here or you tell him he's dead. And he comes back, and then he didn't kill him.
And just the disappointment
And
on
he's
his
just
face.
disappointed.
Yeah.
And he's just like, what I thought with things with you, it would be different, but it's just more of the same. That
Yeah.
was one of the
Yeah.
very good lines.
That was also a very good
Walk,
line.
He just walks out.
But that one also hit you right in.
yeah, and he just
like,
walks off, and I was like, wow, and but it's like you can get sort of his perspective, and then Eric Killmonger comes in and
It
his
all comes
perspective
together.
of things, and it's like you don't really have a who's right or wrong, because in a way T'Challa is also T'Challa even admits to his father, who he sees in this spiritual realm, that they were wrong for what they did, for
Yeah.
leaving them there and for leaving everyone behind. He judges them, so he's the good guy, but
Yeah.
at the same time,
He's struggling with himself.
yeah, he's guilty because he's part of this, by association. He's guilty
Yeah.
by association.
Yeah.
So he
And he was
also not
planning to
completely
continue
good.
that streak of.
He was going to do the same
Yeah.
thing. Exactly. So he's not he's the good guy, but he has a sort of bad element to him, a sort
Yeah.
of guilt
Yeah.
for what he was
Guilt
associated
is the right
with.
word for that.
And then Eric Killmonger is sort of supposed to be the antagonist, but he has a sort of
redemptive quality.
Quality at the same
Yeah.
time.
And
So
he's
there's
human,
it's blurred.
right?
And then at the end, they sort of meet in the middle. He goes more towards T'Challa goes more towards him, and they sort of meet in like a healthy
Yeah.
middle.
Yeah.
Where they
Basically,
both
the
say-
Lupita and Nyong'o
yeah,
stance of all of this.
of where it was. And I thought that whole thing and they foreshadow it brilliantly with all sorts of little things. Like if you pay attention in the beginning of the film when Shuri is introducing the two
The suits.
I wanted to say this the whole time.
Yeah.
They have the two suits, and one has the gold
Yeah.
Yes. And-
necklace, and the other
And
one has
T'Challa
the
says
silver one.
this one
And
small line.
yeah, he says like the objective is to not be noticed or something like
Yeah.
that. And then he takes the silver one, which is like more subtle.
It's like a
Yeah.
normal.
And then
African
later we
gesture.
see Michael B. Jordan with the big one, the more
The gold
know,
one, yeah.
the
Yeah.
cool one, the one that is more noticeable.
Which was really weird,
it's
by the way, because
exactly-
it's a Jaguar suit and it's not a Panther suit. The gold one.
Boom.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
was really so he could never choose the gold one basically because it's a Jaguar suit.
Yeah, but it was also too flamboyant for like it.
But
It's
it
a
also-
Jaguar fee as the Panther. Jaguar is like this fast, flamboyant, in your face animal, and then the Panther is like
Black in the
black
shadows.
in the shadows. Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
everything.
And the symbolism of it,
Yeah.
of their perspective. One is saying we need to go out there and overtake the world and see everything. The other one's saying we need
both
to
in the
hide
animals. Oh,
and
yeah.
stay here. So
Yeah.
sort of like that symbolism. And then also later we have where the sequence, of course, when they take the herb and then he meets his father. Later, Eric Killmonger does the same thing and he also meets his father.
Yeah.
And they have a conversation.
But it's also
it's that
in the
sort of-
sequences.
It's on
balance-
circles.
Yeah.
The sequence
Yeah.
also shows the difference between these two. Like the T'Challa sequence is huge. Like you see a whole plane, you see a lot of animals, a lot of family, a lot of people around him, and then you see
Yeah.
Killmonger sequence. It's like this small
Very
room.
small, yeah.
Like
It's only in the room where
they're sitting on the
his
floor.
dad
They're
is
not,
killed.
they're not
Yeah.
standing. Like the conversation they have is, it's not like a real conversation, but it's like two people talking to walls basically.
Mhm.
And then the T'Challa sequence is really two people talking, embracing, and like it. In that sense, you see, Coogler foreshadowed everything pretty right. He did.
That whole thing was very well done. I think
The directing of Coogler was
what I would have said though, I
really,
think
really
they should
on
have
point.
done a better job actually at the beginning. I thought the beginning, this whole sequence with Ulysses Claw, and I agree with people there, was sort of distracting a little bit. I don't really.
You mean
get-
the Korea?
Yeah,
sequence?
like Korea thing, the casino thing. It's like
Oh, a lot of people are saying that scene was pointless.
it was impressive.
Like,
It was
It was impressively done, but
but
like
but
where
what
the,
I-
whole, the scene
what I
itself
think
had
if
no point.
Killmonger's
No
going to
height.
be the main antagonist in the film, I think that to leave him out of that part of the film completely is sort of
What
you
I
know,
think that sequence
at the
was
museum,
the
but-
setup for showing the difference between these African warriors and the Western way of fighting, and just showing that this is a different kind of. I think that
But
was just
don't you,
showing.
Don't you think it was to set up a plot twist? Because you wouldn't
For
know
sure.
that Killmonger would be.
it
Yeah,
was?
I
It was.
think
It was
the
the bait and
claw
switch.
thing.
I think
Yeah.
he should have been there. That was my thing. I think he should have been. I think his role, because his role was he was there at the museum, and then he sort of disappears, and then it's not until like way later
Yeah,
when they've killed
true.
Claw, then he comes back. I think somewhere in there they should have showed him again
Mm,
and being
It was too-
involved somehow in the process.
he was too long away from.
Yeah, I think they could have.
Involved, yeah.
Actually, my point is, I think they should have made his character slightly bigger. 'Cause-
Or they should kept
Hmm.
him out. So in the museum thing, kept him out so that there's this plot twist like, oh, Killmonger is here.
yeah,
it
like
should-
more of a reveal.
It
there.
should have been
At
just
the-
an
yeah.
henchman in the beginning instead of just somebody who seems to lead some shit in the beginning. Because it looked like he was a partner of I forgot his name, Andy Serkis's character.
Yeah,
But-
definitely.
Then in the casino sequence, he's gone, so you don't think he's a partner, but then he's back. And
Yeah, but I think
Yeah,
my
that's the
point is,
thing.
I think the whole relation between him and Claw was, I think he should have been the leader. It should have looked more like it was his
mhm.
idea and his plan. He had sort of the master plan. He was working with this guy who sort of just wanted to steal some stuff, and he's like, "Okay, I'll let you do that if you then help me to do this and
But
this."
that's basically what he did, right? So he is part of
But he
Claw's
looked-
clan,
he
and
looked
then
more,
yeah,
he
he
looked
killed
more
him.
like a henchman than somebody who's a
yeah,
leader.
he looked more like he was like working for Claw instead of
Yeah.
the Claw was working for him.
Yeah.
I didn't see it like that.
You didn't see that?
I saw it. I
that.
saw it like Claw working for him. That's how I
yeah,
perceived
but
it.
how he talks
at
in
the
the
end,
beginning.
at the,
Yeah,
after
like-
after he kills him at the end, you got that feeling. But
No, no, no.
I agree with Oliver
At the
in the
heist.
beginning.
The first
The
heist.
museum.
Yeah, the museum.
It didn't feel too
Because it
No,
was
it
like he was
Well,
the
no,
mastermind. He went in and he like did his thing,
Poison. The,
and then
uh,
Claw comes in and does the dirty work.
Yeah.
That's what it feels.
Yeah,
poisoned the lady.
good point.
Yeah. I saw more as a distraction from or starting that whole shit. Like the henchman who needs to fall at some point. He looked more like that. But yeah,
The cool
that's-
thing, by the
could
way,
be.
is the mask that he picks is the mask that he wears in the comics.
Mhm.
So in the comics, he has this mask to hide his identity,
Yeah.
and that's this mask that he wears during the second heist. That was really cool.
That's pretty cool.
So there are all these little things also in the because Kugler is a big hip hop fan, and in the sequence when Killmonger grabs the wood from the plate, the wooden plate, there's this Public Enemy poster, which is really cool to see.
Yeah.
And the Kendrick Lamar album.
They filled it with a lot
Yeah.
of
There's all
Easter eggs.
these cultural things that come together for this movie, which is really cool for both hip hop
Even
fans
in the
and
casino,
movie
by the way,
fans.
the colors that and someone has to help me here. Nukia T'Challa and then
Yeah.
the lady of the Dora Milaje played by
I saw that interview as
Nai
well.
Guerrero. What's the character's name?
Oh.
Someone you need to Google it. 'cause
Yeah,
it's
is
Okay.
it on
Hey,
there?
played by Denai Guerrero. I know the actress's name,
Yeah.
and she's part of this Dora Milaje group.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
main like
With the
But they
yeah,
got
yeah,
with
or
the
they got
hair.
yeah, the character.
they got these African colors and also
They all they're wearing a Pan African flag.
know
though.
that-
but
Um,
also the colors represent a little bit how they
How
fight
they are, yeah,
and
how-
how they express themselves. Like
Yeah.
Black Panther is all dressed in black, so subdued, and you see him for the first part of the fight. He doesn't notice anything until one of the henchmen drops on the table, and then he gets into action. I forgot her name. The woman in red.
Yeah,
she's-
that's why we need you to look it up.
Do you know the
talking.
the
But,
female
yeah.
warriors in red? These
Secure.
costumes were based
I
on an actual tribe that had these female warriors that were once the most feared group of
For real?
warriors on
Yeah,
the
that's
African
cool.
continent.
Most of the clothes
And they
were
actually really accurately.
Okoye.
Okay, of course. Right.
And I heard that the
border tribe.
yeah, with the what's
The
it called?
section?
Yeah, their
Oh,
suits,
yeah, yeah.
their
Garbs.
capes, the
Yeah.
garbs. You can actually buy them because they are handmade by African people. There's like this shop where you can buy them.
Oh wow.
So
That's
I saw on
actual ones
Twitter
from the
that you can
movie.
actually
Oh,
buy
wow.
them. Yeah. So he also used African stores
yeah.
to
Yeah.
get all the props
Yeah,
and
yeah.
costumes.
He
Like-
did.
We're already there, but what did you think? You guys all think about the representation of Africa, like how they represented an African country, and
I think they fucked up the accents.
ooh,
So some of the actors, yeah, they did.
what they said
There-
is
there
they
wasn't
used South
consistency.
African accents.
Duh.
Well, okay, so
Whoa,
here's what my
wait.
confusion is. I didn't know if they were doing a thing where every tribe was supposed to have a certain African accent, or if they were doing just like general sort of African person accent. Both ways they did it wrong.
Because
Both ways it was like,
like
it
in
depends on the
Wakanda,
person.
they didn't all have the same accent, which is
No.
weird.
right? That's weird.
Yeah.
I at some point I heard something like similar to the Jabari guy had a Nigerian accent
Yeah.
with the
Yeah, he
O
was
at the
very
end the whole
Nigerian.
time. Then I heard somewhere something kind
This
of
is
South
their part.
African, and then at some point I heard something like
Yeah, but like
Kenyan and
they took they
yeah.
said because they studied South Africa very much. in a
Yeah.
certain
Claw
area of
had a
South
South
Africa.
African accent.
Yeah, the white South African accent,
Yeah,
which is different.
Yeah.
Than the
Is
other
it different?
yeah.
Yo, very
Yeah,
big
it's
difference.
different.
Very
Yeah.
big
'Cause-
difference.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, huge difference.
You
'Cause
can
they
hear
speak a
it.
different language.
Instantly
also.
noticed that.
Yeah.
No, because they speak the white people
yeah.
in South Africa also speak a different language.
No, it's true, but
So the
it-
accents
from
is
the
different.
South Africans I've met, the white ones do speak in that accent, and then the black ones I spoke Afrikaans with. I understood. I spoke Dutch with them, and I understood
Well,
what
if
they
they
were
speak
saying.
Yeah.
Afrikaans, but they
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
speak a different language.
Yeah, in
and
English.
the
I
accent
don't
of
know.
that is different.
Okay.
Which I forget what the name of that language is.
Yeah, the accents.
I know,
the accents. They didn't bother me that much, but yeah, I understand.
They fucked up the accent.
Yeah, they fucked it up.
Like
at some
otherwise,
point-
I think they made it very nice. I think they did an interesting thing.
At some point, I thought the
You can look
T'Challa,
It was like
T'Chaka.
Africa Unite thing.
At some point, I thought T'Chaka was talking Ghanaian, like Tree. I didn't know what he was saying. Like it was,
Oh yeah, they spoke in different languages too.
yeah.
Mhm.
They-
But it's South.
they
Afri-
used a
it's
lot of
some ancient
different-
South African language.
Yeah.
Is what he told me.
But-
But
yeah, I think the representation of an African country in general, like they did that pretty well. It seemed like it was diverse enough. It felt real. Like the first time they fly into Wakanda, it felt pretty real. Like this could be any country on the continent.
well, they used actual architecture from like actual buildings in Africa to make that. So they
The city,
reconstructed
yeah.
certain buildings in Africa.
Yeah.
used that
And
to
if you see the wide shots of the street, people walking there, could be any market.
yeah, they
on the
did.
You know, I
Like,
saw
that
that. I
was
thought,
really well.
that looked like Star Wars.
When they
Really
fly in.
No,
The-
the city. Yeah,
Believe me,
in the town.
if you walk one time into a market in any Africa, it looks pretty
Mm-hmm.
similar to that. Only then less high tech, of course.
By the way, I mean, I thought the set design was phenomenal. The whole
Yeah,
set
it
is
design was,
phenomenal.
especially when they went to the Jabaris.
The Jabari, the Jabari
That was amazing.
plane looked very
That
good.
shot when they go
Mhm.
to M'Baku with all the wooden sticks.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
so-
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
wooden
yeah.
sticks
Yeah.
hanging
That's
behind him.
sick.
It was amazing.
I think that was the point of the movie where I told you, the set design is phenomenal
Yeah.
in this movie.
$200 million.
Hmm.
But
they spent
imagine
on
the
this thing.
salaries. So they didn't actually
No,
have
but I don't
an
think-
extreme amount to work with in terms of other stuff, apart from the thing.
Yeah,
the
that was
actors.
a pretty high profile group of actors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, so,
but I still think the majority of the budget went to the CGI.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
The creation of Wakanda.
The CGI at some point was horrible, man.
There were some horrible
There were some
There's
CGI
some bad
parts
CGI in there,
yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
I thought the fight sequences were not very well done, personally.
Yeah.
Just in how they were shot.
At the
I thought-
waterfall, you mean?
No,
The
no,
wa-
those
the
were the good
waterfall
ones.
was brilliant.
No, I mean like the one at the end, the war, basically.
Yeah,
It felt really empty for me.
I thought it was very.
It was really empty. Like the way they did it was just, it was too sparse. Like I know superhero movies sometimes go over the board and do fucking whole worlds exploding, but this one was maybe a little bit too subdued. They're trying to find the middle way between these two, like finding the right way to do these end battles.
I
Yeah.
think the problem is that they shot it in the way that they shoot these end battles normally in superhero movies, where a lot of people just fighting and everything.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that because of the context of the film, it being a very different kind of film, with not being about like some superhero group versus some supervillain group,
Mhm.
but really being a civil war
Yeah.
at that moment. They should have looked more such as at
Mhm.
movies like Braveheart, or like
Mm.
like different kinds of
Yeah.
films where you have these end battles. You know what I mean, between great groups of people.
Yeah.
At some point,
But
I
then
was also
they shoot it, and it's far more intense, and they shoot it very differently. They shot it very close.
yeah.
All the shots were very close. They should have been like, and even the shots of like a group was like it was like a small group of people.
It felt
Now, they
20
weren't with
feet
that many
20,
people. Yeah.
but you have a whole country. You have so many citizens in that.
Well, I don't
country,
think they
like-
wanted to make it like a big bloodbath, but you could have made a far more intense. looking
Intense
battle.
with intenser shots.
Yeah.
And now there
think it
were a
should've
lot
been
of
wider, for
overall shots
It was
where you see a lot of people
Yeah,
fighting.
and it was a lot. It was very
Yeah.
shaking and
Uh,
very
shaky
jarring.
cam and
Yeah,
It wasn't a.
a lot of white shots.
I have to say that my favorite part in the movie was the beginning where he grabs his suit, stands like this, jumps out of the plane,
That sequence
throws
was-
the balls, and then that fight sequence in the dark where he's sitting in the tree,
tree,
and
yeah.
then
That's why I
the
wanted
fights.
more of
that
that kind
felt
of
like
stuff,
a Batman thing, and that was what
Yes.
I expected.
That's the Marvel.
Yeah, that was
People
what I
talk.
expected of this movie. That Black Panther becomes the Batman, the futuristic smart guy in the universe,
Which what he was
Mhm.
supposed to.
which
What he was supposed to be, but
a little bit became, but
I mean, I would have.
this was a complaint also of people. They didn't think T'Challa was that smart in this movie.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
apparently
no, he was overshadowed.
No, but apparently he's supposed to, because I don't know, but they told
Yeah.
me. Apparently he's supposed to be one of the smartest people
Yeah.
in the Marvel universe. He's supposed to be like this super
like
genius.
a comic tidbit. Like he is supposed to be one of the people in the Marvel Universe version of the Illuminati that's filled with Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Namor, Aquaman.
the Aquaman
kind
man
of-
of Marvel.
Yeah, and those are the
Yeah, they also have an Aquaman.
Oh, do you have an
Yeah.
Aquaman?
Wasn't
And
Aquaman the most useless they said ever?
So
of all the
Aquaman-
superheroes.
we should not go into DC now.
Uh,
That's a
He
whole
can talk to
different-
fish though.
yeah,
But-
good.
Yeah, those four are supposed to be the smartest people on
Yeah.
that the Marvel universe, and they rule. Whenever some big shit happens, they come together and discuss that stuff. But the T'Challa, the Black Panther of this movie, doesn't really fit.
I think
in
we
that
will
group
see
here.
more of
Yeah.
that in Infinity War, because in Infinity War there will be a big battle in Wakanda as well. Wakanda will have a big part in that movie.
Mhm.
And I think Black Panther will be a huge character in the upcoming phase.
But
of
they
Marvel.
gave that to the sister. Is what they did.
Yeah,
I wasn't gonna
they
ask
get-
you guys.
yeah.
They did that to the.
Uh,
they gave that to the sister.
How is Shuri portrayed in the comics?
I haven't seen much of Shuri in the comics.
Because it's like they took
They made
T'Challa's
her-
brain, and she
Yeah,
was
that's
like
what they
his,
did.
his brain.
But apparently,
In that
what
sense.
I heard is that she's actually the smartest person in the Marvel universe.
Now, if you look at the movie, she is.
Yeah,
she
but I
is
wanna know
smarter
if that's
than
the case in the
in the comics.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
what-
sure, but
well, yeah.
she is now smarter than Tony Stark. She can outsmart Tony Stark in every kind of
I'm
way.
not sure about that, but that's going really deep
Sure they
into
did that.
this Marvel part.
But
I see this and I'm like side eye. Like, nah.
the way she's portrayed in this movie, she could. Like, she knows way more about vibranium. Like, Tony Stark has not even touched any of this stuff. He cannot do the stuff she has done.
I mean, if anything, this movie was more into like showing women and the power
For
of
sure.
women.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Which
this
was
movie
great.
In different
was
ways, in
even
very
more
different
of a
ways.
female empowerment thing than Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
He-
I totally agree.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
But
No,
I
but-
agree with you. No, you're right. You're very
He's
right.
He's right.
Even though I didn't see Wonder Woman, but they did. So they're
Yeah, no, but
hiding.
He's
But-
right. Like,
There's
but
I haven't
one-
watched it either.
There was one woman that's Gal Gadot in Wonder Woman, and she created this whole hype, this whole
yeah.
women empowerment hype, right? Where
Yeah.
all the little kids were also in the Wonder Woman act standing before pictures in the suit.
basically, Wakanda stole this one from Wonder Woman. They
Yeah,
took
well,
it
really?
over.
Okay.
Fuck that. It's not your shit anymore.
But I like how
Hey.
these political things come together in
Yeah.
these movies, especially because they are easily digestible. So you can easily watch it, and if you like the political thing,
Mhm.
it empowers. I mean, we had a guy dunking at the All-Star game in the Black
That's what I
Panther.
was gonna get into
So-
that.
Yeah, let's get into
Victor
the cultures.
Oladipo,
let's get into
actually,
it,
at the
yeah.
All-Star weekend, you have the slam dunk contest every
Yeah.
year. Chadwick Boseman was sitting courtside. He went to him, gave him the mask, wore the mask, did the thing,
Yeah.
did the dunk, and lost the contest. But still,
And he missed it 2 times. Take this out.
Oh, people were saying he's not allowed into Wakanda anymore. Like, they will not give him passage.
You should
he was
show
trying to
the tweet.
audition for the role for the next movie. Nope.
But what,
Fucked it up.
But it's really cool. No,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
it,
it shows like the impact.
the
Just-
impact on
just the way people embrace
pop
that
culture.
movie. Like, yeah, I assume you all have seen all the memes, all the videos of people
Huge. It is
wearing the
huge.
African
There
outfits,
are,
dashikis, and going to the movies.
Yeah, they're
and
wearing
everything.
Yeah.
garbs. They're doing crowd. What I think is the one I really want to talk about is that they're doing crowdfunding campaigns
Yeah.
to collect money so that schools can take kids to go see.
They're also
all groups of
also
kids
campaigns to
go
get
see
people to vote in America, like to register to vote.
In,
all of
in
that
here,
stuff.
in Holland as well.
Oh, in Holland.
Yeah,
as
even
well?
here.
It's
they're doing
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was
crowdfunding
in
campaigns
Dima
for
that were
kids,
doing.
yeah, for kids to go see it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I
That
bel-
shows you how big of a deal it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to go on my thing. So
Oh,
What
shit.
I-
I was waiting for
another
this.
one.
Yeah, we
Thank
need to.
you.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah, we need
yeah,
to
I mean,
segue
no, but
into
see, I think because I love cinema and I pay a lot of attention
Mhm.
to what goes on into the industry.
Yeah.
And a big conversation for years, from the point like every year they have like the Oscar roundtables
Mhm.
and they invite like the biggest directors, biggest actresses. I watch that every year.
Yeah.
I watch interviews with different directors, and the big conversation is constantly, what is happening in cinema? What are we gonna do? People are not going to cinemas.
Yeah.
We're losing money.
Yeah.
You can't make a movie unless it's a blockbuster or unless it's based on a comic book or a previous movie or it's based on a true story. And the movie industry is struggling. It's losing money.
It is, yeah.
And it's like people don't care and people don't want to go to cinema anymore. And then you have this film that comes in.
And
Bricks
everybody goes to
everything.
the cinema.
And I was telling Nick, I can't remember. I pay very close attention. So anyone who can, please comment and tell me.
Mhm.
I cannot remember the last time in like the last 5 years, maybe even 10, where there was a movie that was this impactful.
You couldn't get a ticket for a week if you weren't.
The box
getting it
office. I'm not talking
hours.
about box office.
No,
Maybe,
no.
Okay, I'll give you maybe Avatar. Maybe James Cameron's
Mm,
Avatar.
Yeah, but look,
don't
that's
know.
already a long time. Like that, you can consider a
But
long time.
that's a
ago.
long time
That's
ago.
a long time ago.
The Force Awakens.
Force
the
Awakens.
big Star Wars
Yeah.
hype.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
But I mean-
the,
But
okay,
the
yeah, but
cinema
that's-
was
but that's-
packed
but that's
for
the
weeks.
blockbuster.
But there's a difference. There's a difference between
That's the blockbuster.
that's the numerical part.
Yeah.
But this thing also has the other part of it. That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about, where people
The cultural thing.
care this much.
They
Yeah.
really care.
People really want to go. They're crowdfunding campaigns for kids to go
Yeah,
see it.
I haven't seen that.
People who don't even go to the cinema are like, oh, but this one I'll go and watch it in the cinema.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have people that hate
see what I mean?
superhero movies.
Don't
and
like
they went to
Marvel
watch it.
movies. People are like, oh, but this one I'll go see it. They were on every single, and the promotion for it was also ridiculous, which I think had a lot to do with
Insane.
this.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's such a big deal, I mean, I get that there's been movies that have had higher box office and higher numbers.
For sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
I'm
this one will
talking about
break
the
them though.
Cultural, it might. it's close.
Mhm.
But
It already
it's gonna
got
probably be
close to
top 10
Avengers.
box office all
For
time.
sure.
That's already what it's looking like.
Yeah, it's
But just the cultural impact where there's like arguments about it. Like people are like, oh, there's people that are against it because of its political message
Yeah.
before they even saw it. Just the concept of it.
Yeah.
There's people who are very much for it and are saying, oh, we should use this and now talk about what's going on in our country and Trump and it's the whole thing of like people don't care about movies anymore, but apparently they do if you do it the right way.
Yeah,
That's actually when we got
it's
there.
critical
When it
acclaimed
seems-
as well. I
No,
mean, all the
but
critics were
exactly, that
saying
balance-
that it's the best Marvel movie.
It found the
Because
right
of these
balance
reasons.
for this kind of for Marvel movies. Marvel movies need to be closer to this all the time. But
Yeah,
a reason why maybe this movie did so well compared to others is just it satisfied a need people had that wasn't being satisfied for a long time.
I think the stakes were high. I mean, Coogler knows that Black Panther is the African,
it was just-
African.
I heard a
superhero.
story. I
No,
heard,
it was more. What I'm trying to get at is more like they got into a group of people that really wanted to see some shit that never went to the movies before or not that often, and really wanted something to have, and they finally got it. And there are more groups like that want movies for them that they can go to. Like it's mostly that a part of Twitter, Black Twitter, was really hyped about this. They talked about this. They got other people into this, and now other people are seeing it and thinking, "Oh, we need to go see that."
I think you need to, and it's sort of a response to what you said. I think we have to take into account with things like Star Wars. Star Wars is what is a major franchise globally. It's been around for decades. This is the first Black Panther film. It's the first time they ever did this.
He's been
It's
in one movie one time for a
technically,
bit.
it's an original film.
but what
You
was
said
yeah, what I was
technically,
gonna
it's an
say
original film. It's the
Is
first
you
time
you
they're
want
doing it.
all the
Technically.
superhero more? You want more superhero movies to be like this, but the thing is, no other superhero is gonna be the first black superhero.
No,
Never ever.
I'm not talking about
This is
that
it.
part. Like that part culturally, you cannot change. Like you cannot copy that shit.
yeah.
You can though go into the story and the how this movie's structured and do stuff in that sense. Like make it more political, make it more topical, make it more relevant, and
we
hit
have
harder.
those.
Yeah, but how
The thing
does
is,
But-
yeah.
What I thought was just impressive is that again, I still stand by that statement.
Mm-hmm.
There's been plenty of movies that were big and more critically acclaimed that were better, of course, that made more money, of course. But just like when I watched, like I was watching all the because I didn't pay very close attention to the movie in the beginning. I just went to see it not too long ago, and I started looking at all the interviews and stuff. I was like, let's see what they sort of did, and just the amount. First of all, I mean the promotion, just the amount of promo they did. These people went to everything twice. Like they were on The View three times, separate occasions, different people. So first they sent Michael B. Jordan, then Chadwick Boseman also went on a separate episode. Then later Lupita Nyong'o. No, later Lupita Nyong'o also went.
Lupita
with the
Nyong'o and
Niagara
Chadwick
to The
Boseman
View.
did a lot of those things together as
Did
well, and
things
then Michael B.
together.
Jordan went along.
They think they're dating.
No, that's not on The View. I'm in The View. Huh?
Yeah, they think Michael
Oh,
B.
The
Jordan.
View,
and
yeah.
Lupita
No, I
Nyong'o
mean
are dating.
on everything.
Then
Like,
they were on. Well, then they were on the Breakfast Club, but then they were also on Jimmy Kimmel.
and did
These
all the
motherfuckers
social media
even went to
content.
Ellen. Twice.
Big billboards as well.
Everywhere.
The
Massive
difference is
promo.
also because the director is young, and he's cool. So like, a lot of times you don't see these directors doing all these little things and these
He
little
also
social
was
media
everywhere.
content stuff. He's really out there. Like
he was also
really
doing social
does
media
his thing.
content,
I think
interviews. He was
They
everywhere.
did social media right.
They did it
Yeah.
yeah.
But they didn't
That-
even
that-
have
that's
to
a part
try
of it.
hard. To be honest, everything they posted would have been picked up by.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's not only that. Like this thing with Hollywood that you said,
They were Sway.
like they did social
Wait a
media
minute.
right. That helps a lot.
Yeah,
They-
remember
they-
I brought up this
they-
point that
everything-
directors aren't seen as
Exactly,
savvy
like,
at all, so they don't.
We
usually
had
do
this
anything
talk in
promotion. Yeah.
an older podcast. Like the directors are not on social media most of the
The
time.
directors are a lot of old dudes who want to go back to the 90s when they were still fucking hot bitches. That's what they want.
They
In
cannot
their
do
free
that.
time, they're only
They're
sitting.
No,
in
I
their
mean, and
living
I
room.
love these are my favorite directors, but
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I see, and I love their films, but sometimes like, oh well, why can't we just do things like why can't we just use only film and it's all digital? Why
But
can't we?
it's-
You're watching movies on a phone and it's like, oh well, bro, you need to.
Get with the
what are you
time.
gonna do?
Right,
I mean, you
right.
need to-
But that's
In your free time, don't sit
Everyone's
around and
on
read a book.
Twitter, I'm
Right.
not
Right now.
I'm not gonna be on Twitter. It's like, bro, then we're not
That's-
gonna watch your film. That's what's gonna
Exactly.
happen.
Yeah,
But
you have to
these
either
all
get-
of these people were on Twitter. Like some actors are also not on Twitter, and then their movies.
Yeah, I mean,
slip
and
away.
I get the. Trust me, like if this was a different podcast, I'd be on a different side because I get that side.
Mhm.
But at the same time, you see the difference, right? Like this, what they did here, they did a brilliant. Also, just the tactical thing. I mean, whoever did the PR for this thing is a fucking. I don't know what they did, but they got a genius to do. I think someone else
There's a
also did,
list.
who normally does
Big
it.
They got a new person
Because-
for that shit.
Because they did like shows like Sway and Hotline 7, radio shows, but then they did like daytime shows like Ellen, but then they did like things like Good Morning America.
They
and,
also
like,
did the
they're, like,
YouTube shows,
base-
Hot Ones.
But then they did
and-
online stuff. Yeah,
Oh, that's-
pure
yeah,
online
they did.
content. They did that. Just they went every single angle, every kind of person they hit.
Like, this is maybe a little bit outside of it, but just the idea of the Kendrick Lamar album, putting that out, the Black.
Oh,
that was
Kendrick
just.
didn't
Lamar
even get into that
album.
one.
Great album.
That was just perfect. Like
Did you
it
notice,
came.
how they were playing trap music for Killmonger scenes and other music for
African music
Chadwick
for
Boseman.
Charles.
Yeah, yeah.
Goranson with the
Oh yeah,
with the
yeah.
score.
Ludwig.
Great.
Yeah.
The score, like
Yeah.
like just the Black Panther album just came at the right moment before, like just 1 or 2 weeks before. You have enough time to listen to all the music, get acquainted with it, get acquainted with the sounds you will hear in the movie later on. Because, for instance, on the Vince Staples song "Ops" in the movie, you hear the guards of T'Challa. I forgot
Dora
it.
Milaje.
The Dora Milaje. So you hear that their chant the whole time, and you get acquainted to that. And
Yeah.
when it comes in the movie, you think, "Oh shit, that's that chant. Oh, I know it." And then it grabs you even more. You get more into the movie, like all of that shit,
They
like
condition you
everything.
to expect certain things and
Yeah.
feel a certain way.
They,
No, I
they-
thought-
the person who did the PR and all of that, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Great.
it is.
And as I'm saying, the
Yeah.
impact of it is just, again, there's. I'm gonna keep saying it because I know people are gonna shit on me. There's been movies that have made more money. There's been movies that have been better. There's
sure.
movies that have been, had more critical acclaim. That's true. But I'm just
sure.
talking about. I can't remember a last time there was a movie where people cared. Were doing crowdfunding campaigns for kids to go see it,
Mm.
or where people were
Hasn't haven't happened before.
or like there was
This
like an
probably the first
emotional
time.
thing
Yeah.
to seeing it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you have to. This is the first time we're seeing this, and it's like such a big deal. I follow all these film channels, all of them. The ones about writing, they talked about the writing. Ones about cinematography, they talked about the cinematography. Other ones about the business, they talk. All of them. I can't remember the last time a film had that.
No.
You know what I mean,
No.
that's why I'm saying, and I think that's incredibly impressive in a time where, you know, the idea of where cinema is going is sort of, you know, disappointed of like, oh, we don't know, and we don't know if people really want to go to cinemas anymore, and you know, we don't know if people really, and especially because also this is the film where people thought that, you know, it wouldn't necessarily. Some people thought it wouldn't necessarily do so well.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Star Wars is going to sell or Iron Man is going to sell. We
For
know
sure,
those are
yeah.
the exceptions.
Yeah, this is a risk.
Those are the ones people are going to watch for sure.
It was a
This
big
one was
risk.
not a
This is
sure
the
thing.
risk. This is the outlier.
So that's why I thought was that's why I think it's different from other films.
Mhm.
And that's why I thought it was, you know, for people in cinema, it's an interesting time to think about how then, you know, you can use this, what they did, and maybe
This
apply
shows
Yeah,
there's
because
a
look,
way.
to different
Because
kinds
I
of
believe-
films that aren't all superhero movies, because I want to see some other shit.
I genuinely believe, and looking at,
I agree with you.
looking at the promo,
That's where I was going.
looking at the promo, marketing, and everything, I genuinely believe that if this movie was absolute shit, that it would still do the same numbers it's doing.
Yeah, because of the
Yeah.
culture, the,
Yeah,
the
and the
black,
hype and everything.
And the promo.
African,
And the promo.
Because even
the
if people
promo.
were telling me it's shit before I went to watch the movie, I'd still go watch it.
Yeah, but it helps a lot that it's good, though.
and
It
I
does
think
help.
Of
it's
course,
help
because
a
now
lot that
it's
it's
gonna
good.
go on for
It's
a
gonna get
longer time.
repeat
People are gonna
business, yeah,
still,
people are gonna still
yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
and I
yeah.
think it's just great how Marvel gives these young new directors the place, like with Thor Ragnarok with Taika Waititi. What he did in that movie was totally different than the formula that Marvel did, and I think in the future we will.
They
see
just
this.
started
I
with
think
Thor
in the
was
future.
Trash, though.
It's the worst.
I
I've
heard.
it's
I
the
haven't
worst
seen it, but I heard it
movie.
was bad.
It's
From Marvel fans.
Yeah, yeah. My
different.
Marvel people tell me it was
it-
the worst Marvel movie.
It
they've
was
ever made.
totally
off. It was
different.
off. But
Waititi has
I
just
love how
this
it's different
weird
thing.
director
It's like
thing.
horrible, off.
A lot of people are
It was
saying
just
that it's
off.
really good though.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I heard that
It's
what
not that I've
happened
watched
is
it.
that I heard that his dad dies, 3 of his closest friends dies, and he's out there just cracking jokes, and it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Bruh, how the
think-
fuck? Everybody dies. And you're
think we
just
should
drumming.
just
You don't care.
watch this movie
Right?
together.
This is weird.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean,
I
I'm
don't know.
spoiling
I haven't
it, but-
watched
Your
it.
whole
I
fucking
don't know
family
shit.
dies. Your country fucking burns. Your country burns. Your country burns. And you're just joking around.
Yeah, there's like a lot of jokes in it.
And there's a lot of jokes in it, and that's what
He becomes a fucking slave and he's joking around.
Jesus.
And he became a gladiator.
Fucking.
Are you not entertained?
It's a fun movie to watch,
shit, man.
but
No.
if you think about it,
No.
it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Quit it.
No, but I thought the Black Panther film was impressive
Yeah.
for all those reasons. If you haven't seen it, go see it. They are not paying us to say that,
No,
but if they would like to, we'll leave a
please
link
pay us.
to our
In the
PayPal.
description.
Yeah,
And I also wanted to talk about. I think we can't let the people go without talking about the connection between this film and the next Avengers film, which I'm going to you guys because I don't know. But I was telling Nick that one of the reasons that it's also such a big deal is because this is the lead up to the next Avengers film,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Which will have
I know
a
some
bigger
stuff.
budget even.
I know some stuff. I'm not
Yeah.
completely lost.
like
How do we do this?
Okay, are you going to do
Because
this or not?
Avengers-
I straight up don't
Right.
know.
Avengers needs to be.
you're a Marvel
Avengers.
fan. then.
Okay, again,
Avengers
spoilers.
needs to be
It's the last Avengers film. Avengers Infinity War.
revived. It needs to be revived.
Not
Well,
the last
what we're
one.
going to talk
It's not
about
the last
now.
one. Oh shit! See, I don't.
They're shooting too.
But
Oh,
because
they're
the-
doing
the,
the double feature.
The last one struggled,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
The
I'm
last
sorry?
one struggled.
The last
last
Avengers.
Yeah,
struggled.
Ultron.
Okay, so
It
how
didn't
did-
struggle. It was just less
Sh-
well received.
Shall we first give some backstory before you're like?
But
blah, blah, blah,
from
blah.
now on, spoilers for probably the next Avenger movie.
Probably spoilers for the whole Marvel universe.
Okay.
What he
well,
said.
Okay,
Yeah.
so-
what's the lead?
Most of these movies were already setting up Black Panther. So Wakanda, we know that the shield of Cap is from vibranium. In the Avengers Age of Ultron movie, there's Ulysses Claw that grabs the vibranium. That's why he has this weird gun arm, because Ultron chopped off his arm.
That's where you got
And
that from. Okay.
yeah,
But they said that
and
in the movie.
um,
No, they didn't.
Bucky Barnes is
sort of.
this Bucky Barnes, the guy from Winter Soldier. At the end of
Did you see the after credit scenes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
oh,
did
that
watch
guy.
those,
It's
yeah.
the
So
one
there's
from
this
the-
credit
in the
after
hut.
credit scene
The
where
guy in the hut. Is
The-
that the guy in the
yeah,
hut?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Got
that's
it. Got it.
Bucky
Got it.
Barnes.
Got it.
So in
A lot of people
in
missed
what
that, by the way.
Avengers
I talked to
movie
people.
was Black Panther?
That was a
in-
Civil War.
in Civil War.
He
So
was
in
in
Civil
Civil
War, Bucky Barnes becomes this crazy guy. Black Panther's there because it's about the world and also about Wakanda. And Bucky Barnes is set in Wakanda because that's the only place where he is safe.
Yeah.
And in the next movie, in Infinity War, Thanos is here. He's gonna kill everyone, and he wants the Infinity Stones because he gets almighty power. And that's why you see in the after credits of Black Panther that Bucky Barnes is there, and he
Yeah.
becomes a war dog.
Yeah, he becomes like
What's a word?
you know the guys they wanted to send the weapons to?
That's
Tho-
the war dog
Those are the war
Oh.
dogs. Those are infiltrants. They are the
from
spy.
Wakanda.
They're the spy unit of Wakanda.
Oh.
And in the comics, there's one.
Oh, so he starts working for them.
Yeah.
There's a possibility. Like that's what people are
It's
saying.
definitely they're giving hints
Yeah.
because someone else will become Captain America
Yeah.
probably.
So
and-
the war dogs, like a little bit backstory on them, is a little bit. They are the spy unit of the Nakia, Lupita Nyong'o's character. is
She's a
also-
war dog.
She's also a war dog.
Oh, okay.
They're the spy unit. And in the comics, there was.
Oh, just like Eric's dad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
got it.
he
Got
wa-
it. got it,
he
got it,
was
got it.
at some point the leader of the war dogs. I thought that's why he
Got
was there. But they in the comics there was adoptive son, white son by T'Chaka. He was adopted by T'Chaka, and he was like a brother to T'Challa.
Bucky?
No, another guy. It was
Oh,
another
okay.
guy. But they were brothers,
Bucky be
and
the
he
brother,
became the
yeah.
leaders of the war dogs. They're basically replacing that guy
with Bucky Barnes.
with Bucky Barnes. So
And-
they're going to make them probably T'Challa and Bucky will become as good of friends as Captain America and Bucky, and then he will take over as the War Dogs and be the spy for them because he's already a spy.
Right. So that then
Oh, very exciting.
onto Infinity War, where Thanos is coming to Wakanda because there's still one stone left.
Yeah.
So there's
people think
different
it's-
Infinity Stones.
yeah.
We've seen it in Guardians of the Galaxy, the Purple Stone. There's a stone in Vision's forehead.
Yeah, have you seen
and
the Avengers movie? That robot guy with the stone and
with a stone in his head?
I've seen the first Avengers movie.
yeah,
Yeah, he hasn't
wasn't-
seen that one
you
then.
haven't seen the second one then.
But there's still one left, and that one is probably in Wakanda. And Bucky is in Wakanda,
Mm.
and Captain America is probably also in Wakanda because after Civil War, no one likes him anymore.
So he needs to hide.
So he
Wakanda's
needs
the
to
best
hide,
place
and
to hide.
Wakanda is the place to be to hide. And Thanos will come there, and there will be this big battle, which you see in the trailers.
Yeah.
And how that will unfold, I don't know, but I'm very excited to see Iron Man and Bucky
he-
Barnes and
he's
Black
also
Panther,
gonna come.
they will all be
All-
in Wakanda
All
fighting.
the superheroes.
But I
you've
told
seen-
him. I
Predicted
told you.
spoilers.
I told you the next movie takes place in Wakanda. Right?
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
the
but
villains
there's this-
going
That's
there.
already, but that's already known.
That's
I know,
not-
but
that's
you didn't know.
In the
I
trailer,
know.
You know
I
the
told you about
trailer.
this yesterday.
I told you about it before.
Bro, I
yesterday.
told you about the interview.
When we were talking about this. He doesn't remember.
it's a little bit spoilerish, but
Letitia Wright should have said it when she wasn't.
so there is a stone there, and
Okay.
no one knows. Some people are saying that the
Is
heart-shaped.
Black Widow coming?
She's also there. I
Yeah,
think.
she's probably
Yeah.
she'll also be there.
Scarlett Johansson.
You just need to see.
You don't
it.
know if it's gonna be. Is it gonna be here?
Check the
Again?
trailer. You can see it in the trailer.
Bruv, I don't.
He doesn't care
He
about
doesn't
Scarlett
care.
Johansson. She's been out of work for a while, right?
No, what are you
No,
talking about?
no.
Scarlett Johansson, she's living life.
Yeah, she's living life, but is she? Like,
She made enough
is
of
she
these
working?
movies to just calm down for a bit.
They're even giving
Like, what's she
her
done
her own
recently?
movie.
Well, let's say
She does
recently.
Ghost in the
Last
Shell.
one was Ghost in the Shell last year.
Oh,
last
yeah.
year.
But she might have done
Yeah.
some. But she does a lot of indies movies too, small ones.
True.
So she might have done
True.
something like that too. But yeah, I wanted to know if Black Widow was gonna be there.
Yeah.
You just need to see her.
I'm a huge fan.
So it's gonna
Mm.
be lit, and the movie comes out in May. So I'm very excited
Yeah.
for that.
Which this May?
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
This year.
quick.
and it will be 2 parts.
So next year there will
Gonna
be
have to
another
watch
part.
it.
People talking about
Right.
superhero movies. People are saying Deadpool might actually also be, especially Deadpool 2 might compete with Black Panther's success box office wise and critical acclaim wise.
Deadpool.
Think so.
Because in terms of unique, if we're talking about unique superhero movies of recent, Deadpool's the other one.
Deadpool's a good satire.
Where's Deadpool again? Deadpool's what is he?
DC.
He's
Marvel.
But
He's not Marvel,
He's a
right?
Marvel character, but he's not from in the Marvel universe. So he's not part of that licensing.
I'm not
Yeah.
following any.
This is some Hollywood
I just
studio
know that
shit.
Stan Lee had a cameo.
Wait, I heard about that. No, I've heard of this. Like they stole him or something.
No,
Right?
the rights for all these Marvel characters are all over the place. So Marvel,
I read
Disney
about this
has
once.
a part.
Yeah. There's a reason why you can't have certain characters in the X-Men
Because of
movie.
rights.
X-Men movie.
Because of rights, even
Yeah,
though they
yeah.
are of the thing. Because another studio bought the rights,
Yeah.
and you can't put the. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Marvel
really
needed
good.
money when they were struggling with the comics some years ago, like 10, 20, maybe 30 years ago, and they sold the rights to different studios, and now they want them back. But
So Deadpool is a Marvel character,
Yeah.
but
Bought-
Marvel
bought by
sold the
DC
rights.
Comics.
yeah,
And
Well,
DC
yeah,
bought it.
the soul, it's.
and,
it's
it
such
was
a
Fox.
Weird
No,
thing.
was it Fox?
Yeah, it's from Fox.
yeah, Fox. But
Fox, but that's what it is.
Oh.
Okay, so Deadpool, people are saying Deadpool 2, which is coming out not too long from now, I've heard,
Yeah, correct.
is going to. There are people arguing that is might compete with the success of Black Panther because of it's also being a superhero movie that's very unconventional.
Deadpool was
it's-
hype, man,
it's,
when
uh,
it came out.
And it was
The first
hype
one was
when it
great,
it's
came
right?
It's a
out, yeah.
brilliant
Yeah.
satire of superhero movies. Like
It's R-rated,
it just
and that's why it's hype.
it just makes fun of everything that's conventional in superhero movies, and like the way American Pie did it with the movie, not American Pie, that Scary Movie did it with horror movies of that time. Like it's just making fun of shit
Yeah.
in a fun way, and at the same time being a pretty good. The Deadpool at least was a really good or pretty good superhero movie at the same time. So yeah, I don't know if
I haven't
we'll,
seen it.
He's like,
I don't know
Doesn't take
if
itself too
we'll,
serious.
if we'll take over the place Black Panther has not right now as one of
Box
the
office
most
because
box
we're talking
office.
about
I don't know.
we're talking about Avengers and people are saying that one's gonna be big, and that might even do better numbers wise. But
for sure.
other people are saying that Deadpool's gonna be the one.
I think the thing with there's this part in superhero movies where people want the R-rated. So we had Logan with Wolverine, the ending
Logan, I
with
heard it was actually
Wolverine.
very good. I didn't see it. I heard it was very good.
That was
pretty good.
I
one
was,
of
I
the
was
best.
gonna. I don't know.
You didn't like it?
No, I refused to watch it for some reason.
because he has a problem with Hugh Jackman.
Why are you?
I don't have a problem with Hugh Jackman. I told you Hugh Jackman just doesn't do anything for me. Like he's like I'm in that middle zone where like
Hugh
I don't
Jackman-
like him nor hate him.
Hugh Jackman doesn't turn him on.
No, he doesn't.
Jesus Christ.
No, but I heard Logan was very good.
Yeah.
And
If
it's
it's good, I'll
actually,
watch
I think
it.
it's the first superhero movie to be nominated for an Oscar in screenwriting. Best adapted
Yeah.
screenplay. It's
Whoa.
nominated. It's
Yeah,
nominated.
yeah.
It is nominated.
Then I'll watch
It's
it.
one of the.
I don't- I-
Then I'll watch
Of course.
it.
I mean, yeah.
I
My
think it's one of the
problem
first
with
ones,
it
but
is
it was
always the
incredibly.
story.
It was. I heard it was because it wasn't really a superhero movie. It was actually just a very
It
serious
was-
film.
Yeah,
But
it's,
then-
yeah.
but-
It was exactly what I want in these superhero movies.
And
Like,
that's
that
why the
was-
Marvel movies are not your thing.
But I,
You're complaining
I just
because it's
I
just
just
not your
wanted to-
movie.
I just wanted them to go a little.
It's not your genre.
Jeff,
You
Black
should
Panther's
check
the
those
first step.
serious
Jeff,
Black Panther's
shit.
the
Jeff,
first
you know
step.
what you need to do? You need to just come over here right?
I'm
gonna
already
give you a list.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm
already.
gonna teach you.
I'm
how to
already
watch
there.
These films, Jeff.
I'm already
Teach you
there.
how to watch these
I
films.
just,
No,
I
because I was
just,
gonna say,
I
if
just
it-
want them to catch up. I just
You're
want them to
watching-
catch up.
But if they change it
you don't
to
go
this stuff-
Marvel and expect some fucking like
No, I just.
fucking Paul Thomas Anderson type.
But if
I-
they change it
there-
like that, then like
there's
there's gonna be
so- the
20 people
movies
that
are
are gonna
fun.
watch
I
it.
enjoy
Right?
the
He wants to
movies.
watch some French Nouvelle Vague type, French New Wave cinema in
You need-
Marvel. They're not gonna do that.
You need
It's
to
not-
have
They
an
need to have
audience.
that. They need
Shut
to have
up.
They're not-
They need to-
You
Shut
need
up.
people to
They need
show up to the cinema,
What are you gonna
man.
do?
Let
Even
Nick,
I don't
let
expect
Nick
that.
talk
Yeah.
some sense in y'all.
I said you need people to show up to the movies, to the cinema.
Yeah, but
You
I
need
do.
as many people
No, but
as
why
possible.
can't people? Why can't
to
people
show
watch?
up.
Why can't people watch something that is immersive and multi-layered and in
Because
depth?
most
and-
people don't have taste.
But
That's true.
superhero movies.
Most
like,
people
I
don't
really
have
think,
good taste.
I really think superhero movies are the place to give people that substance, but also that action and fun. they
Yeah,
want.
but you know they also cost like $100 million a pop, so we're not
Yeah.
playing with this money, Jeff.
Yeah,
I understand the
we
studios
don't
also.
we
don't wanna play with this money.
We're not
I
playing
I'm
with
gonna
this money.
raise a final question.
Yeah.
Which Oscars is this one gonna be
Oh,
nominated
the zero.
for?
Zero.
Do you think zero?
It will not get.
This is not an Oscar film.
No.
They will not get special effects or anything. either.
Oh,
I was
well.
thinking about the music
I
part,
think
the
you
set
mean that, those
designing.
guys. I always
Costumes.
forget those.
Costumes.
Oh, costumes.
Costumes.
Ooh,
Costume
yes.
design.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Costumes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I
Quote
thought you
me.
meant like acting or direct, like
Dude,
the
any
major
Oscar?
ones.
No,
Any Oscar.
How
They
many
could get a
nominations?
supporting for
Costumes?
No,
Michael B. Jordan. Yeah.
No.
They could maybe.
Michael B. Jordan wasn't convincing enough.
Costumes
to me
or
in a lot of
sets?
scenes. Like when he was the
I think
angry
he's
scenes.
Straight up right, yeah.
Wait, we're
Not- it's
talking
not-
about completely different things.
No,
You do the
It's
No,
Michael
I
B.
was talking
Jordan.
about the
this is
Michael B.
true.
Jordan
We
thing.
talk about wild shit. So
Yeah, but yeah.
No, I'm saying Michael B. Jordan, like especially his angry, aggressive scenes weren't convincing to me at all. Like he seemed
But-
really fake when he was doing it.
he was charismatic and good enough in the role that I think he could maybe get just one of those nominations they throw out for.
Nope.
No, I don't think so.
No?
bro.
No?
This is not the film for that.
Costumes and sets.
I think he's
it's all
100%
on that.
right. It's
I
gonna
will
be
put my money on
costumes
that.
100%.
Sets
Costumes
was
for
like
sure.
I agree.
Get the nomination for sure, and sets also.
Music
Yeah.
could also get for
Music,
Or
maybe.
music maybe, but that's
Original song,
mostly
maybe,
Soundtrack-
original
soundtrack.
song,
Original song,
SZA
yeah.
and
yeah, okay.
Kendrick Lamar. I can
Or
see
either,
that.
either the SZA and Kendrick Lamar or the Weeknd and Kendrick Lamar song. One
Yeah.
of those two.
Do we have a final verdict of this movie?
I thought it was a very good film.
Yeah.
already
I
heard my
judged it
thoughts,
as
so
a
I'm
Marvel
going to-
superhero film, so I brought down my scale. But it was
Bringing
good.
my skill with me.
No,
I'm
but I
not
thought
bringing
it.
but I thought it was good. I went in
Yeah.
there. I didn't expect it to be that good. I thought it was pretty good, and I hope they do more of this. But I highly doubt it for some
No, I
reason.
doubt it.
For some reason,
Yeah.
you already know what's going to happen.
So
The
yeah, I thought the film was
others?
great.
Final verdict?
My verdict is gets a solid 7.
A
for me.
solid,
A solid
7. Jeffrey,
Agree.
he agrees.
Okay.
I think this movie is phenomenal for the culture.
He's like, "Boys, phenomenal."
I'd like to thank my parents. Everybody should follow Letitia Wright.
and
It's
us.
like-
That would also be nice.
And watch the movie if you haven't.
Letitia Wright, follow us, please.
Yo,
She
we
killed
need-
it.
we
She
need
did
a-
an amazing job.
Shout
need
out
to
to
respond
Michael
to
B.
this shit.
Jordan. And shout out to
I don't
Chadwick
know these
Boseman.
people.
He's gonna call him Mike. He's gonna go around calling him Mike.
All right.
Mike B.
Thank you. Good. This was 3 Angry Men. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for
Thank
listening.
you for listening.